Welcome to Positive Philter with your host, Philip Wilkerson, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career, with a little self-help along the way. Please join me in this journey for self-improvement, and I hope what I have to share will make you a better person, thus making the world a better place. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, people of the world. It's Philip Wilkerson back with another episode of Positive Philter. I'm joined by a special guest because everyone's a special guest because they take their time to join me on this show and share their wisdom, knowledge, and expertise and experiences with the listeners. I'm joined by Debra Eckerling. Now, as you know, this is the first time we met and seen each other's face moving, not avatars, but we've actually been connected for over 3-4 years on Twitter. She hosts or used to host a very, very involved Twitter chat about goal setting. And you know me being really adamant about visualization and goal setting, it was a really, really great space to check in with people, ask how people are doing, update random people. I don't even know who they are, update people on what I'm doing that week. And it was really a good place to keep me accountable. So years in the making, I finally have Debra on Positive Philter to share all her ideas about goal setting, the importance of goal setting, and the like. But before we get into this topic, Debra, please give the listeners a little intro about yourself.
Well, you did a great job, but basically, I love goals. I believe you can't get what you want unless you know what that is, and that starts with setting the foundation. So I am the founder of the DEBMethod for Goal Setting Simplified, which I am sure we will get into, and author of Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals. You can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So I sunsetted the Twitter chat with all the toxicity going on Twitter. But I also have a LinkedIn group and Write On Online Facebook group, and it's all about goal setting, accountability, but more importantly, community, because you can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So that's me. And what else? So I'm corporate consultant, workshop leader, helping people to set those foundations. So whatever situation they're in, whether it's corporate environment or their own business or a side hustle, they set themselves up for success.
I love it. And so please, explain for listen the DEBMethod. That sounds pretty dope. I know you use your name there, use your name to develop that, but can you explain what the DEBMethod is and how you came about developing this method?
Okay, well, let me back up to my goal journey, and then it will lead into Deb. Perfect. So I did events for Barnes & Noble. This is back when I lived in Chicago, and I've lived in LA for more than 20 years, so do whatever math you want. But whenever I needed to fill my calendar, I would hang out in the cafe because I wanted it to be a community bookstore. And one day someone came in and said, will you start a writer support group? And I said, if you think people will show up, let's give it a try. Not only was it a success, I saw firsthand the value of that community aspect of setting goals. This is what I accomplished. This is what support I need. And this is what I'm working on for next time. And because I would never give an assignment I wasn't prepared to do myself, I was setting and achieving goals. So fast forward, moved to LA, restarted the group. And what started as a writer support group evolved into for writers, creatives, and entrepreneurs, because if you're one, you are the other two, right? They're all very, very interconnected. And so then people said, hey, Deb, you're good at this. Can I hire you to help me finish my book? I've been working on it for years. We got it done in 3 months. Or Deb, you're good at this. Will you speak at my event? So that's really how it evolved from this fun thing I did motivating people into me. I started leading workshops, and over the years, the group evolved. It was in person, a hybrid. Now it's online only as the Write On Online Facebook group. And in 2018, so my background is project management and communications. In 2018, main client was going away. And I took it as a sign to fully step into what I believe I was meant to do, which is help people figure out what they want and how to get it so they can live better, more fulfilled lives. And my mom said to me, you hate SMART goals. Why can't you create DEB goals? And I said, oh, that's absolutely perfect, because it's what I have been teaching for years worked perfectly with my name. So DEB stands for determine your mission, explore your options, brainstorm your path. So determine your mission. You can't get what you want unless you know what that is. Explore your options. Okay, you know what you want, but what does that mean? How do you put it out into the world? And brainstorm your path is putting the ideas into action, making a plan. So determine, explore, brainstorm, DEB.
I love it. And it's like there's a part of flexibility, there's a part of prototyping and risk taking, and because you said you got to try different things. And then I think that for me, what I'm hearing when I hear the word determine your mission is almost like the intrinsic part, like what are your motivators? Why are you doing it? So you have to look within and explore options. I feel like you have to like connect with other people, network a little bit, and then prototype. So let's start with the D part, exploring within or determining your mission. What are some core components about determining someone's mission?
Well, it really and you have it. You totally hit the nail on the head. Determine your mission it starts with that visualization. When you think about the life you want, what does that look like? Are you successful? Do you have a successful business? Did you write a best-selling book? Are you spreading your message to help motivate people? What does that look like for you? And a lot of people love vision boards, and I'm good with vision boards, but even stronger, I think, is like, what is a visual representation? What is one thing that you're working towards? Is it 30 under 30? Is it 30 over 30? Do you want your product in a store? Do you want your service to be like the go-to? So what does that look like for you? Maybe it's just a happy family time. So what is one visual you can create? So for example, you want your book #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. You take a copy of the New York Times bestseller list, you scratch out #1, and you put your name and your book title there. Or if you want to be on an influencer's list, take the current one and put your picture and your future bio up there. And we'll get to the future bio in a second. But keep your eye on the prize. First, figure out what that prize is. So that visualization is that first step. Then you want to write your current bio, so to take stock of where you are, and then your future bio, and future 6 months, a year, your next birthday, whatever future makes sense. Could be 5 years from now. But the key with the future bio is you want to write it in the third person, but in the present tense, as if it is already happening.
Gotcha. So Philip Wilkerson hold on real quick. Is okay.
Is the beacon of positivity.
Yeah, okay. I was like, yo, the English class. I was like, okay, got it. So you write it out. Okay, I'm gonna try that. You know me, I call myself the mad scientist. So I try experiment. I do vision boards, all that. So I'm gonna try that. I will actually report back and write out mine and send it to you separately. So
and then from there, you write your mission and your motto. Or were you gonna ask that? And I just
no, actually no. I was thinking like, no, that's great. So then you write a mission and motto. Go ahead.
But that mission is really what you are about, who you are, what makes you unique, and most importantly, how you help, which I know you totally get this. When you've got helping others as your mission, and it could be to inform, it could be to educate, entertain, whatever that word help means, but it's fuel for your mission, because when you do things for others, that's what propels you. And then from that, you want your motto. So the motto is the fun, short, sweet, all-encompassing 3 to 5 word phrase. It could be a theme song. It could be a title. Whatever it is, it's going to help you, again, keep your eye on that prize. So my mission is to use my background, experience, workshops, book to help as many people as possible figure out what they want and how to get it so they can live better, more fulfilled lives, and in turn help others. So very long, very clunky. I think with mission statements, the clunkier the better, right? And my motto is goal setting simplified. So everything that I put out in the world has those easy instructions, because changing your life is challenging enough. So
I love that.
And for you, Positive Philter, that in and of itself is a motto because you want to spread positivity and elevate people.
I like that. So let's, I'm going through the method. You said I hit it on the nail. It's like exploring your options, right? So obviously that's the searching, the research, doing that. Can you talk about some real tangible ways that people can explore their options, such as the ones I just shared with you, but ways that you would tell people to explore their options after they know their
Yes.
direction?
Well, in this next exercise, if you don't know your direction, you can use it for that as well. When I was writing the book, I'm like, it's chapter 6, but do I put it in the first section or the second section? Because this is um, like my favorite solution for solving any problem or working through any ideas. So I call it directed journaling. And what you want to do is schedule 3, 4, 5, 15-minute appointments with yourself, during which time you're just answering a simple question or series of related questions. So, what is my mission? What is my lot in life? What do I love to do? If it's for your mission statement? If it's for exploring your option, okay, my mission is this. Well, how am I going to show it to the world? Should I write a book? Should I start a blog? Should I start a podcast? Oh, or maybe you're going through this career struggle. Well, I love what I do, but maybe I would love it more if I did this. What other career paths can I take my skills and experience and see if it's applicable? Or I want to build a business. I really think this is a problem that needs to be solved. Oh, well, this would be a product I could create. This could be a service I could create. And the idea is just to free write, to mind babble everything that's coming out of your head. And you want to do this in a few different spurts, but don't read anything until after you've completed the exercise. So do it 3, 4, 5 times, then sit down, read everything through once, and then go back with either a highlighter or a notebook and find those common themes, because you might have thought that you wanted to do 1 or 2 things, but something that you didn't even realize was on your radar, you mentioned like 20 times.
Mm.
And those are the things that you need to listen to because they're top of mind. That's where you're going to put your energy, and that's where you're going to have the most success. So, this is basically an opportunity for your brain to play and see what's out there, and then make a list of your top 5 or 10 things, and then whittle it down to maybe 3. And you can go back to the other, 5, 6, 7 other things at some point, but what is the focus right now, and what's going to best serve your mission to accomplish Goaltopia, which is living the life you want and achieving your goals? So that's really the first step for exploring your options, is kind of putting everything out there so you can identify what's drawing you.
I got you.
So, yeah.
Okay, I got, like, not say devil's advocate, but 2 things. What if you're like not a big writer? Could you just like free record yourself? I don't know. I'm just thinking about
Yes.
that. Okay, I was about to say that. I was like, I would just babble in my mind and then listen to a recording. I do that all the time with my phone notes, where if I get an idea, I talk into the thing, talk to myself. Is that something too, or does it have to be on writing?
Oh, you can absolutely do that. You can record yourself and then print it out. I am a
Mm-hmm.
big fan of seeing things,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely. Record yourself, have it transcribed, look at it, or you can mind map. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
think in pictures.
Yes.
Uh, it's and the thing with journaling too, a lot of people are like, "Oh no, you have to write by hand." Journaling, because there is a connection between your brain and your pen when you're writing things out, which is why note taking is really effective for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people. However, if the only way you're going to journal is if you type or if you do it verbally, then that's what you do. There are no rules. The only rules are what works for you, what are you going to do,
Mm-hmm.
so you actually accomplish it. It's kind of like exercise, don't do anything boring that you never want to do. Do something that you're enthusiastic about, so you want to do it. So, yes, any way you want, but find a way to come up with that list of 3 to 5 things to explore. And that's when you go to your network. Find the
Yes.
people who are doing the things that you want to do, or you find your connectors, people like you and me who know like everybody, and say, do you happen to know somebody who works in this field? I am a project manager in this area, and I really think I'd be much happier working in this field. Or you love doing marketing and there's no path to where you can move up the ladder where you work. Who do you know who works at a company that would be ideal for you that you can reach out to? Or who do you know who's doing the thing? And have a conversation. And it can be on the phone, it can be in person, it can be Zoom. If we've learned nothing the last 3 years, that's you can connect from anyone, anywhere, anytime. And actually, I know people are back in person, but I am still such a fan of virtual because you can connect with so many more people on such a deeper level. And you save time because you're not driving places. So if you haven't already, make your list of who your connections and connectors are and reach out and do some research, and then you narrow it down to what you're going to do for second and third, or find like 2 goals that are going to help you move forward that either work together or separate. Maybe one's personal, one's professional. That's another thing, is it's not just about the professional goals. What do you need for personal enrichment? What's going to make you happy? Maybe your job is fine. You don't love it, you don't hate it, but it's a good living. What's something you can do on the side? What's something you can build that's going to bring you joy, and that's going to elevate your personal and professional life as well?
I love it. And then the last one is the D is, the B is
Brainstorm your path.
I literally was I was looking right at the back too in your logo. But it's kind of like, to me, it means brainstorm your path, prototyping. Can you explain that a little bit? Like giving your ideas a thought and brainstorming. How's that look for you?
It's making a plan. Mm-hmm. So long-term goals are made up of short-term goals. Short-term goals are made out of benchmarks. Benchmarks are made out of action items. So again, write down or verbal and transcribe everything that you need to do to get where you want to go. And this is where you want to write down all of your goals, the personal, the professional, short-term, long-term. You want some easy goals, you want some reach goals, and then divide and conquer. So, and I like using the idea of creating a website, because if you're in business or thought leadership or whatever, if you don't have one, pause this recording now, listen to the end and then do it. But one of the first things you need to do is work on that online presence. So create a website is short-term goal. What are the different benchmarks in there? Figure out the technical aspects, the name, the hosting, the nitty-gritties of it, right? Mm-hmm. Then the other part is the visuals, the look, the content. What is it going to look like? What are your colors? What are your logos? What are the pages, your about, your FAQ, your contact, and then the actual regular content, which is maybe it's a podcast and you've got the recaps and the embeds. That is your blog. Or maybe you want to interview people and put that in there. Or maybe it's just product updates. So the third piece is, what kind of content are you creating that's going to go along with? And so as you complete each benchmark, you've done a step to reach that short-term goal of creating a website. So it's putting it into pieces, what it is you want to create.
I love it. I have a question. So let's say my dream is to be, and it's a realistic dream, president of a university. That's not mine, but I feel like I've heard that. How long should I stick with that? I mapped it out. I networked. I talked to all the presidents that I know. And I'm going. Let me go through your scenario, and then we'll. So I want to be president. I visualize it. Lead educator. I know my motto: to educate the next generation, empower others. Leave students better off than when they left. So I got the mission. Then I do my research. What does it take to be a president? Get a doctorate, and maybe work on these things at X, Y, and Z, right? And then I put it in a plan. I want to be a president within the next 5 years. what happens? How do you motivate someone that's like really, really adamant? They have it, they dream it, they visualize it, they put it on paper, they have the benchmarks, 5 year hits, and they're not a president, and they're starting to get jaded or discouraged or say it might never happen. How would you talk if I was that person? How would you talk to this person?
Well, the first thing I would say is time. We love to put deadlines on things, but something like this is really out of your control.
Mhm.
The only things in your control is doing the steps, and if you've done the steps and you're still not there, first thing to do is go back to that mission. Remember why you want this so much. Then see, okay, with this renewed spirit, is it just a not yet? Or are there brick walls? And is there something, if for some reason it's a brick wall, is there something else that is similar that's going to help you achieve that mission? Because we only have control over so much. We have control over creating our mission, doing the work. Time, we don't really have control over that, and that's probably the most frustrating thing. And a big part of, I think, anybody well, in the world, we have no patience. So the first thing to do is to step back and say, okay, who else can I talk to? Is there someone who has insights who can tell me? Maybe it's a supply and demand thing. You there aren't positions, or
Mhm.
because people stay in these positions for a very long time. So what else can you do that's still going to fulfill that mission for you?
I love it. I was thinking in my mind is like breaking it down and saying, okay, am I still fulfilled in the journey? Did I still get better? Maybe in the 5 years, I didn't become president, but I still obtained a doctorate, or I did all these things that still propelled me forward. It just might not have been what I visualized, right? It might not have been that title, and I could be like some maybe a business owner, or something totally different than what I thought of, and I land in a very different place. But by pushing myself toward goals, I still went forward regardless.
Yes. And you described it just as good, if not better, than I just did. It is the journey. And that's why the mission and the motto are so important, because as you're going on this journey, and it takes a while, some things take longer than others, but as opportunities come your way, you can ask yourself, is this in alignment with my mission? If yes, then yes. If no, then is it going to fulfill me in another way? If yes, then yes. If no, then you have to ask yourself, is this worth your time and energy? And sometimes when you're saying no, it's you're saying yes to yourself. You're
Mm.
saying yes to other opportunities, and you give someone else, when you say no, you give someone else an opportunity to say yes to something that might be in more alignment for them. So that is also the other reason when I start with that visualization. What does a fulfilled, happy life look like for you? Perhaps um, do help people to engage the next generation. That is, the visual. And you thought being president of a university is going to do that in the best way. But in this journey, you realized that doing something else, that having a business, becoming a thought leader, maybe along the way, you just became this motivational speaker, and you're helping even more people than you ever could in, I'm going to say just a university, but impact
A
even more
different
people.
different community. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, I thought about that because and then my brain always goes to like random stories, like a guy that pursued his athletic ability and wanted to be a champion. Like there's all these like great quarterbacks that like never won a Super Bowl, but they tried their hardest. Do we still discount them and call them not great players? No, we still call them Hall of Famers, right? They just didn't get a championship. So I think it's hard. What kind of, at the raw, like let's say at the very malleable person, I can see a lot of people being easier clients to work with goal setting, and some people to be more difficult, people that already bought in, and then others. Can you describe that experience for you as someone that motivates others and works with people setting goals? you know, meeting people where they are. And in those both instances, someone is like, I met them where they are and we're ready to roll. I met someone else and I had to work a little harder to get them on board.
The second one usually doesn't happen. People
Okay, okay, yeah, okay.
and I have met people, and 8 years later, like literally 8 years later, they reached out, Deb, I'm ready to write my book. Or a couple years later. Oh,
Mm,
so, and that's the other reason why it's so important to have social networks and connect with people, because out of the blue, you might hear from someone who's finally
right.
ready,
Mm,
needs you. And I had this client, this was a few years ago, and she was writing a book, but she was writing the book because people told her she needed to write down her stories, and she was not meeting her deadlines. She was not meeting her goals. She was putting off appointments. And I finally said, let's take the summer off and revisit in the fall and see if you have more motivation, because self-motivation is so important. We're still on a break. So a person needs to be ready to move forward. They have to really be tuned in to what's next for them to really buy into it. The other thing, there are like 57 other things. A lot of times I tell people, give me an hour, I'll give you a plan. Sometimes people will just hire and work with me for an hour and then go work with someone who specializes. I've had a couple different occasions. I'm meeting with a publisher. She's interested in my book. I want to really put my best foot forward, and we work through the mission, the motto. What are the different topics, the different ideas that you can present? So she came at her meeting in a position of power. Or I'm meeting with a very specific business coach to build this, but I need a plan. I need my vision. So I find I love being that first step for people to organize their thoughts, set the foundation, because I'm going to repeat myself. You can't get what you want unless you know what that is. And that starts with gifting yourself the time and the energy to see, okay, what is it that I really want? What is going to be a win for me? What is this mission that I'm so passionate about? I went, someone else I met through the Twitter chat, we did one of those 20 minutes, let's get to know each other. And I said, so tell me about your business. And she's talking. And then I said, it sounds to me like the nonprofit space is what really speaks to you. And she said, Deb, people have known me for years who've not picked up on that. But that is what I love and where I need my focus. So gift yourself that time and do it through, work through my book, give me a call, whatever it is, but gift yourself that time to say, okay, I choose me. What do I want my life to look like? And what can I do in little bits of time to work toward it?
I love it. Can you talk about the aspect of community and sharing your ideas with someone else? I have one thought is this, is that sometimes you have to hold on to your dreams and keep your, not say keep them close or guarded, but be very selective who you share them with, because like there's some people out there that could be dream killers. You have a dream and you can share it with someone and they're like, that's dumb, and they have no context, they just call your idea dumb and they shoot it down, and then you never tried. But then we have dream helpers that you share your dreams with, and they're like, yeah, you know what, I always saw that for you, and that was just the motivation that you needed to hear someone else confirm it or validate it. So can you talk about, one, balancing accountability and having someone else to talk to, but also being very selective of who you share your goals with and all that, so you don't get caught by dream killers?
First of all, dream killers are my pet peeve. And the fact that I'm just sitting here in awe because as you mentioned before, we've never met before, but we are just so on the same wavelength with this. So it's really kind of mind-blowing-ish, but not really, because we're a part of the same communities. That's why it's so important to gift yourself the time for the foundation to figure out what it is you're passionate about, and to do that groundwork. So if for some reason you mention something to someone or you request feedback, you're objective enough to know whether something is good feedback or it's going to steer you off course. So the first thing is, even the people that you trust know enough of what you're working towards, so you can say, oh yeah, I see how that would be a really good direction to go in, or I appreciate that, but I'm really excited to be going on this path. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, absolutely, do not share with the world everything. People may have your best interest at heart, but no one is in your skin except for you. So, and the way that I have it, so in the Right On Facebook group, every day is a different conversation starter. So, what are your plans to network this week? What are your goals for the week? Blog Share Day Wednesday, Toot Your Horn Thursday, Photo Friday. What are your plans for the weekend? So, every day is an opportunity to comment and have other people lift you up and say, oh, that's great, good for you, or congratulations. But the other part of it is, you can be as vague as you want. My goal for the week is to write 3 articles or to do outreach for my book or whatever it is. My goal for the week is to get people signed up for my course, and then people could be, oh, can you tell me more about the course? So they're designed to be conversation starters, and you never know if dots are going to connect. One of my favorites was somebody's win one week because she finally got her recording studio all set up to do audiobooks. And a few months later, someone else said, oh, I need someone to record my audiobook. So I tagged the first person who said, oh, have you guys met? So that's another just way to have that goal setting, accountability, but that community aspect of people lifting you up. For those champions, you know who they are, right? And we all have maybe 1, 2, 3 people. I would say maybe no more than 3 people that we would trust with our future. You can vaguely mention things you're working on to other people as you're building, do market research, whatever, but really be careful and be protective of yourself with the people. And you can be great friends with someone and they just don't get you, and that's fine, but know the difference.
Yeah. So one thought I thought about, and I love that, knowing the difference, being discerning, um, and all that. And like you said, we are in the same way, because like I said, I've followed your chats online for quite some time, for years actually, and so it's just almost crazy, surreal to be in the same space. Can you talk about the unexpected outcome of goal setting? And what I mean by that, kind of similar to that story. Let's go. I want to go back to it again a little bit, but maybe a personal story, like where you're so laser focused on this, title, or losing weight, or making a lot of money. You're really focused on it, and in that pursuit, something unexpected happens. Why do you think that happens? That we get these almost like unexpected dividends of your investment, if that makes sense. Like you invest and you get money from somewhere else. Can you explain unexpected results of goal setting?
So I also do some freelance writing, and someone I interviewed yesterday she said, I've been very lucky. And my response was, yes, but you've also been really focused on building this particular business. She said, I'm so blessed that so many people love what I have to offer. I feel so lucky for it. It wasn't luck. She had been building this business for years and has watched it evolve. And again, you don't know where things are going to come from. I got my TEDx came from someone from Goal Chat. Okay. Because he said, hey Deb, I want to make one of your goals come true. I host a virtual TEDx. Do you want to be part of it? Yes, please. When you are doing the thing that you love, you need to be open to those kinds of opportunities. you also need to be closed to opportunities that are not going to move you forward. I don't know if this answers your question,
It
but
does.
it's a really good story, so I'm going to share it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Several years ago, somebody had invited me to be on a panel, and it was a friend. So I said yes. It was women in the workplace. And at that time, I hadn't worked in an office for about 10 years, but friend. So, okay, why not? But the moment I said yes, I regretted it. I'm like, this is not my scene. It's not going to be helpful for me. But I said yes, I am going to do it. The morning of the event, it was canceled. The venue fell through. And when she rescheduled it, she said, okay, Deb, we're going to do it in January. And I said, I would love to join you, but January is goal month. Okay, December and January, that's goal season. And I cannot commit to being on a panel. And I gracefully bowed out. And something else came up for that exact night of the event that I was able to take because I said no to this thing that was not a fit. So part of it is, yes, you don't know where things are going to come from. I think networking is so important. And in terms of, and I mentioned this before, we live in this virtual world. There's no reason why you can't do at least 3 networking things a week, one educational, one big mixer, and then one one-on-one to get to know your contacts better, because you don't know who knows the people that the people you know. Your tribe is as big as the tribes of everybody you know, but it's not about what you can do for them or what they can. I said this backwards. When you are meeting with people, it's what do you need? How can I help? And when
Mm-hmm.
you approach things with how can you help attitude, then they
Yeah.
want to help you. So the unexpected, we don't know, but keeping an eye on that big picture, that's where you can go on any route that's going to take you toward building your business, building your thought leadership, starting that side hustle, making your career better, and to see all these little things as blessings, as wins along the way.
I love that. I love that. That resonates with me too, and I need to be better at that. I think I've been stretching my self thin because I say yes to a lot, and I need to maybe go back and say, is this really what I want to do? And maybe say no more. That's always, but that's been day one though, because I get so honored to be asked. Like when I was first, I guess, getting more times and opportunities, I just said yes to everything because I was just so used to not being asked, and then you burn out. So now I can be a little bit more discerning. So I'm a heed the universe's lesson of like me saying no more often, or not yet, or maybe not yet, or maybe not me. I know someone else that'd be a better fit, and I like to call it pass the blessing. Like that person can do it. I think that would be, and I get credit for connecting people rather than just completely saying no to somebody.
Yes. Yes to saying no. And I did this too in 2020. I was doing 3 or 4 networking things or more
Yeah.
a week, which was fine because no
Yeah.
one was doing anything, no one was going anywhere, and I was doing a lot of this, okay, take this moment and take this cosmic pause to rethink your life. So there were a lot of opportunities for me to meet a lot of people, spread the message, tell people it's okay, which is great, but it's not a pace you can keep up.
No. No.
So, and when I talk about, so these rules, set them for yourself. So I do the 3 a week networking opportunities, but I also have a rule where 1 day a week I don't do any meetings because that's when I get a lot more done. So look at your life, look at your schedule, and see what makes sense and put some rules in place. And you make the rules so you can break the rules, but see what rules you can put in place that are going to propel you forward.
What is your no meeting day? Like you mean like a normal work day, no meeting day, or like a weekend Saturday that I'm chilling, no meeting
Oh,
day?
no, a regular during the week, and it changes every week because I like I said, I do workshops, I do consulting, I do writing,
Okay.
and because I do writing, I interview people, but at least one, and every now and then I do make exceptions, but
I
I'd
like
say
that.
3 weeks out of 4, I have at least one day, no meetings, which is just a writing and work on projects day.
I like that idea. I'm gonna copy that if I can.
Oh,
I mean,
please do.
obviously, or maybe like half a day or something, like no half a day work, because like I think that's a really productive thing. Like this is like I can get, yeah, that sounds very productive. I think that's a good tip.
And I'm glad that you mentioned weekends. Take at least one weekend day off or half of a weekend day or work minimally on the weekends because you need to re-energize yourself. And especially as entrepreneurs who love what we do, it's really hard to
Mhm.
not work. But the benefits of relaxation are like ridiculous.
Awesome,
Another
awesome.
gift you can give yourself. I want to make sure that I share, because you were talking about the unexpected blessings. One of my favorite tools is to keep a win list. So every day just write
Yeah.
down 1, 2, 3 things that went right, and it could be really minimal. I made soup today. Believe me, at least actually I think I track. One of the things I talk about is cooking for productivity, because as a reformed non-cook, I realize that the benefits of cooking are boundless. And I would say I have a food win just about every day, because it's me time and nourishment all rolled into one. So what is so today doing this podcast was definitely a win. And I also see, you know, oh, mug cake in my future, another win, something good that's going to take me out of work and recalibrate. So you approach the rest of the day even better.
So I'm very positive. I'm very you know, I believe glass half full, optimistic, but also I don't want to be to the tipping point of toxicity where I'm like, minimizing the struggles and adversities of others. So can we talk about the importance of resilience and acknowledgement? Like, I'll give you an example I do is that I have a failure log, and people are gonna say, Philip, like you have a goals list. Every time I've actually applied or put myself out there and I didn't get it. So I say, like, similar to your goal, I applied for TEDx, did not get selected as speaker, and I date it and I acknowledge it. I hold on to it, like, like not hold on to it, but I look at it, then I discard it. It's almost like, then it's gone. It's out of my mind, but and but I also want to acknowledge, like, I'm not, like, people show their highlight reel. Like in this journey, I've had a lot of failures. I acknowledge my failures. So, can you talk about the importance of resiliency and acknowledging, like, in your journey of goal setting, that you're going to have some L's, you're going to take some losses, you're going to fail. Can we talk about that a little bit? Not, the hard part about goal setting.
I actually like your fail list, but I would call it more like a tracking list. So when you're looking at your week, what am I going to accomplish this week to work towards my goals? You do a list similar to the brainstorm your path one, but in specific tasks for the week, set appointments, do it. But as you accomplish, and you can look at it as a win, but you can also look at it as news or failure or whatever, but to keep track of that, because then at the end of the week, the end of the month, you could say, I'm not there yet, but you can look at everything that you've done in your journey to get there. So it's not just wins, which I like, positive. I am positivity as well, right? It's not just the wins, but what are the things that you are doing, and to keep your eye on the prize and keep moving forwards and realize things are just not yet. And when you get frustrated, go back to your mission, reread it, rewrite your future bio, do what you need to do to refresh your enthusiasm for what you're working towards, so you remember the value that you are bringing, and that will help keep you moving forward.
Excellent. Well, we had a great conversation. This is the part of the show I call Shot for Shot. You get to ask me any random question. I get to ask you any random question. It's not even related. It could be totally off. Do you want to go first, or I go first?
You go first.
All right. So let's say, what is one of your travel goals? Like a place you always wanted to go to, and
See,
why?
I am the wrong person for travel goals because I drove cross country when I moved to LA, and I'm good here. I think, and I live in LA, so we have beach, we have mountains. So I don't really have travel goals.
Not even all over the world. We have the whole world.
We do have the whole world, and someday I'd love to go to Australia just because it seems just absolutely beautiful and rich. Hawaii is another place that I think would be nice and relaxing to go to. So we can put them on the list for someday. But right now, I'm just so happy to be connected with the world from the comfort of my home.
Okay, I love that. All right, what's your question for me?
I want to know, do you cook? What do you cook, and what do you cook? What is that dish that you make that reframes your day because it's an accomplishment?
Well, I do cook quite a lot, actually, and I'm actually happy what I can cook. It was out of necessity when I was in grad school. My wife was working, and I had to learn how to cook. And then I started looking at YouTube and videos. I mean, I would say the thing that I'm really confident about, I could cook a lot of things, barbecue, grilling, all those things. But something I like as a comfort food or something I'm like really proud of is my mac and cheese. I love making that for other people, like for like potlucks and stuff, or Thanksgiving, or any major family gathering. I like to make the mac and cheese. Um, Also, this is weird, but I've gotten into charcuterie boards. Like I like making charcuterie boards with cheese and crackers, and I like the aesthetics of it. They look pretty. So that's another thing I like to do. Like I actually just bought a board today, a big cheese board, so I can make from Home Goods, so I can tinker around with the design of a charcuterie board. So those are two things that I like to do in the kitchen. Besides just grilling, I like grilling too during the summer.
I love that. When I was a kid, my assignment was arranging the cheese and the crackers. This is before we called them charcuterie boards,
Yeah.
but to do the veggie platters and the crackers. And I always liked arranging food.
Mm-hmm.
When I got my mom an Instant Pot for Mother's Day 6 years ago, and she said, "This is great. Will you learn how to use it?" That was my gateway to loving cooking, because I realized you could put in ingredients and then it comes out meals. And my mac and cheese, you're gonna have to share your recipe, because that's the first thing I learned how to make in the Instant Pot, and it's always a fun go-to.
I love it. I love it. So this is a great episode. This is part of the show called Shout Outs and Plugs. So shout out, show love to anyone you want to show love to, and then plugs. These are the things that I'll try to make. Well, I will make note in the show notes. Things that you're working on, things that you want the listeners to be aware of, so they can follow up with you. So this is the part of the show for you. Shout outs and plugs.
Well, I'm going to shout out a plug to you and your show, because this is awesome. I will also do a shout out to the Marketing Podcast Network. So I host Goal Chat Live every Monday, where I bring in 3 friends to dive into the topic of the week. And then it becomes an episode of the Deb Show podcast on Thursday on the Marketing Podcast Network. So if you're looking for new podcasts, definitely something to check out. And I'm just going to give a plug to my community, whether it's my Write On Online, my Goal Chat Live, my mom, my biggest champion. Let's give her snaps as well. And just realize you can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So let's be each other's people. So if you're listening to this, please find me on LinkedIn, drop a note and connect with me. You can find my book, Your Goal Guide, at your favorite place to buy books. Reach out, info@thedebmethod.com, and you can learn more about me at thedebmethod.com.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Deb, it's been a great episode. I'm so glad you joined us. Thank you so much. I'm definitely going to be joining the community on Facebook. I didn't miss it. I was curious what happened, because she can attest that I was a weekly jump in, or I would jump in on the goal chats all the time. So having that support and community is very important. So I'm excited to jump back in. Positive Philter listeners, it's been a great episode. Please follow up. Please share this episode with a family member or friend. Leave a like, subscribe, or review on Apple or Spotify that helps elevate the podcast. As you know, every episode is dedicated to the memory of my late father-in-law, Jeff Kirsch. So please consider donating to the Jeff Kirsch Anti-Hunger Fund. I put that in the show notes of every episode to honor him and his legacy. Thank you so much for joining in, and we're out.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Positive Philter, a podcast that focuses on family, friends, career, with a little self-help along the way. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your family and friends, and like the Facebook page, Spreading Positivity Movement. Thanks for listening.